Hi YouTube, this is Vector. Welcome to Client Build 1 Part 2. In the previous video I gave you an overview of all the components that will go into this rig. In this video I will start mounting the system, so installing radiators, motherboard and water blocks. So let's get started. So I started to mount the bottom rod, the Swiftech MCR 220 XP. I removed the hardware cage to mount it properly. At the right hand side I mounted the fan grills to protect the radiators, as you can see here. The radiator is in push configuration, so the fans will blow fresh air through the radiator from the bottom to the top. And at the left hand side I still need to mount the second fan grill with the pump and pump bracket. Here you can see the two extension cables included with the noise blocker fan package. Those two extensions will be connected to a Bitfinex 3-pin extension cables in order to be directly connected to the motherboard fan header. Here you can see the bottom rod mounting from the bottom of the case. So as I mentioned, you can see here the push configuration. And now I just need to install the dust filter provided with the case to avoid dust sticking inside the fans and the radiator. The system is clean, the screw using to mount the fans with the radiator are aligned with the dust filter holes. Here I installed the roof rod, the Black Ice GTS 240. It has been mounted with a push config 2 to exhaust air out of the case. You can see the Silverstone dust filters installed. With the Storm Stryker you have a 55 mils gap between the roof of the case and the top of the motherboard. So the top rod must have maximum 30 mils of thickness if you add the 25 mils thickness for the fan, in order to prevent the fans going over the motherboard top connectors. Again, two extension cables for the top rod fans that I have zip tied and ready to connect to the motherboard fan header. The motherboard has been installed, and here you can see what I have talked about previously. If you have more than 30 mils of thickness for your top rod, you will get troubles with the radiators, fans going over the motherboard fan headers or the 8-pin EPS connectors, for examples. So with the Storm Stryker, max 30 mils for the roof rod thickness. Here I installed the back I/O shield, and here you can see the large CPU cutouts of the Storm Stryker in order to work with the CPU coder, which will be in our case the EK Supremacy water block. The Intel Core i7 3770K has been installed, not a big deal. Now for the CPU water block, the EK Supremacy, I removed the nickel plate in order to install the jet plate optimized for socket 1155, because the default installed jet plate is the universal one. So I removed the jet plate and replaced it by the one optimized for socket 1155 on the left hand side. The jet plate on the right hand side is the one for the socket 2011. Now I just need to place the jet plate on the water block and put the nickel plate back in. The fins have to be oriented across the jet plate, as you can see here. Here is the backplate for the water block, at the left hand side for the socket 1155 and at the right for AMD sockets. The rubber gasket, you need to remove the inner part for the socket 1155. And now we just need to place the rubber gasket onto the motherboard and the backplate on the rubber gasket. You have to align the motherboard holes with the backplate holes, as I'm showing you here. Here I installed the 4 thumb screws provided with the wall block. I also used the nylon washers between the screws and the motherboard. And here you can see the 4 thumb screws screwed inside the wall block backplate. Before installing the CPU wall block, I need to clean it. For this I use Articlean Surface Purifier with a Q-tip I also prepared my thermal paste to apply onto the CPU. So here you can see only a drop of the articling surface purifier applied on the CPU, and then I use the Q-tip to clean the CPU. The next step is to apply the thermal paste. I'm using the line method. Now I can place the CPU wall block. And place the springs onto the thumb screws and secure the water block with the thumb nuts. You have to screw them using cross method like this. The water block is installed and secured. I give you a quick look at it. The power supply is installed, again not a big deal. Now for the GPU wall block installation. I have prepared the GPU wall block and all other components such as thermal paste, thermal pad, screws, and I will use two products. The first one is ArcticClean thermal material remover used to remove stock thermal paste, and ArcticClean surface purifier used to clean the GPU. But before that I need to remove the stock cooler. For this I have to remove all the screws I'm showing you. So let's get started. Okay, all the screws have been removed. I'm counting them just to see if I did not forget one. Then I can remove the stock cooler by moving it slowly. And to remove the stock cooler fan cable, I use a small screwdriver like this. Here are the two ArcticClean products I will use. The first one is used to remove the stock thermal paste, and the second one is used to clean the GPU and prepare it for a new thermal paste application. So first application of ArcticClean product number 1 to remove thermal paste. I use a paper towel. Sometimes it's necessary to apply a second or a third drop if you have a lot of stock thermal paste. Now the stock thermal paste is removed, we can then use the second ArcticClean product to clean up the GPU. The GPU has been cleaned. Now I need to remove the stock thermal paste on the GPU chips. All the GPU chips have been cleaned now. I can now move forward and apply thermal pads included with the GPU water block package on the GPU chips. You have to cut it following the water block manual and apply them on the GPU chip still following the manual. But before that I have applied a small drop of thermal paste on the GPU chips, as you can see. And also I have applied thermal paste on the GPU using the cross method. And then finally I have applied thermal pad onto the GPU chips. This is the EK GPU water block FC680 GTX nickel plexi version. Now I have to align the GPU water block on the PCB, like this. can see here that the PCB holes are aligned with the water block holes. The next step is to screw the water block onto the PCB using provided screws and nylon washers. We start from the GPU and then move around. Okay, all the screws have been placed. Don't forget to place the nut to secure the PCB with the graphics card I/O panel. Here are the inlet and the outlet of the water block. You can also mount the FC link. Okay, I removed the stock screw in order to place the FC link. And this is the FC link with the two O-ring and the provided screw to mount it onto the water block. And finally, the final product with the FC link installed. Now for a quick look to the SSD. So this is the Vertex 4. Included in the package you have the mounting hardware, a bracket to mount the SSD into a standard hardware cage, the manual, and the sticker. The Vertex 4 is using an Intelix controller. You can also see the nice high quality mirror finish on the back of the SSD. I will not use the provided SSD bracket. Instead of this, I will use the bracket provided with the Storm Stryker. You can use it with a standard hard drive or SSD. To install the SSD onto this bracket, I need to align the holes of the bracket with the holes of the SSD, like this. And then use the provided screws to secure the SSD on the bracket. As you can see, the SSD is secured to the bracket using 4 screws. Now I can place it directly into the hardware cage like this using a rail. I have also the fans for the SSD cooling, and I can directly connect it to the motherboard. I have installed the EKDDC X-Top CSQ pump top. I just needed to remove the 4 stock screws, then remove the stock top and screw the EK pump top using the provided screws. I'm giving you a closer look. This is the Plexi version. I will need also to sleeve the cables. Here I have the LEDs. So this is the Phobia 3mm blue LEDs. I will use them for the CPU water block. They are sleeved and use a Molex connector. Here I have Feather 5mm blue LEDs. I will use them for the pump top. They are also using a Molex connector, but they are not sleeved. Here, this is the Phobia 30cm blue LED strip. Cables are sleeved and also use Molex connector with a pass-through. And finally I have 5mm blue LEDs. I will use them for the bay reservoir. Non-sleeved, but they will be out of sight, so no need to sleeve them, again using a Molex connector. It's time to make a small test, so I've plugged the 5mm LEDs onto the pump top. And this is the given effect, which I think is awesome with the frosted Plexi pump top. Really cool. Now we can make the test for the bay reservoir. So I've plugged the 5mm LEDs directly onto the power supply. As you can see here. So okay, let's go. Okay, same result. The EKCSQ Plexi design in combination with the LEDs looks absolutely awesome. I'm giving you a closer look. Again, same test, but this time for the CPU water block, I have plugged the Phobia 3mm LEDs inside the water block, and the result is absolutely perfect. While all the components will be eliminated inside the case, the result will be awesome. I'm very happy with the way it looks. Finally, the Phobia LED strip, so I have placed one in the bottom for now, and I will place another in the top in the future. So let's make the test. Okay, same effects, absolutely perfect. So this ends up this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please like and favorite, and stay tuned if you want to know more.